Yeah,
They're
there's a lot of like positive news this week around like that's helping the market kind of rally. I think at least what people are pointing to a lot is like, the what is it? The employment numbers are climbing, the inflation is slowing down, it's not dropping, but it's slowing down. And also the debt ceiling was adjusted up, so we raised the debt ceiling, which that is good news for the DXY in my opinion, because it keeps the strength of the dollar as far as the dollar representing the universal kind of like reserve currency that it currently is. And when the dollar doesn't default, or when the US government doesn't default on debts, that strengthens the impression of the dollar. But I'm not so sure why that's great news for equities, because when the government raises the debt ceiling like they have this last week, what that really means is that it allows the government to spend, like to go deeper into debt to finish its commitments that it's already made. So it's to pay off debts that already were approved. So spending that's already been approved. It's not a new approval of new spending, and it's also not, an inflation or a stimulus. So it's not something that should necessarily hit the bottom line of the industry sector, or of like the SPY, the QQQ shouldn't be super
like
excited.
it's not really changing the supply of money, right?
Yeah, it doesn't change the supply. It just makes like the amount of debt that the US in, you're allowed to go deeper into debt, but again, only for things that are already approved. This isn't a new approval of spending when they increase the
Right.
debt ceiling. So, it's interesting. It's definitely good news. It's better news than the US defaulted on a loan, So I guess if those are the two opposites end of the spectrum, I do understand why that's positive news. It's like, oh yeah, we're not defaulting, the economy is strengthening, job numbers are up, inflation is starting to slow down. Lots of positive news, and then the chart is also kind of flipping more and more positive lately in the last few weeks. It's still I feel a little bit like that, what is it, like PTSD basically from the bear market here. I still want to be like, oh, it's like, is it safe to kind of like start limping into these equity positions again? And
Right.
this chart is starting to say, yeah, it's starting to say it might be
Yeah,
it might be time to like consider.
I think, at least for me, I I trade mostly just based off the chart.
Yeah,
Like, and also looking at the indicator, it's never really gone wrong in calling bottoms, especially on the weekly.
yeah,
Uh, so I'm gonna try to trust it. I'm definitely gonna trust it, even though we're getting mixed messages on like dollar and
yeah,
also bonds rallying at the same time.
yeah. That's
Um,
definitely not usually the characteristics that we see,
right.
but
It seems the market seems a bit disjointed,
yeah,
and also it could be that yeah, like next week, the next few weeks, we'll get more clarity on the U.S. Default situation. Like, I think they're supposed to figure it out next week, right?
yes,
Or the week
yeah.
after.
But this last week it was like Biden basically said that they would be willing to raise the debt ceiling, that both parties were like agreeing to this. So yeah, the like full news will come out actually next week, like with what the actual decisions are. So this is kind of a case of buy the rumor, sell the news, kind of, maybe, if you've ever heard that little idiom. But
Yeah.
where like the rumors, or like the chatter leading up to the actual event, drive the market more than the actual event itself. Um,
Right.
so
Right.
maybe that is part of what we're seeing this week, with especially with the markets disjointing the way they have been.